Hello, and welcome to the Horoscope Vault, a podcast that explores the world through the lens of astrology, with a view to supporting you throughout life's chapters and helping you make more confident decisions each time. I'm Charlie, an associate member of the American Federation of Astrologers and astrology reader for radio's The Bob and Sherry Show. This episode is the week ahead episode beginning Monday, 16th of June. We're a sign change for Mars into the sign of Virgo, happening on Tuesday. It's all about perfectionism, but not in the way of doing things perfectly. It's actually much more interesting than that. So stay tuned, all that and more in this episode. So Tuesday's sign change for Mars. It's kind of a big shift considering Mars and its retrograde from Leo into Cancer, and then this extended time spent in Leo once it returned. Mars energy has been like a flame that has been extinguished into a flame that's absolutely roaring. And this sign change is kind of feeling like it's well needed. So if Mars is the planet of action, showing how you go after what you want, it shows how you fight, how you assert, how you respond to irritation or threats. And then Virgo energy is very detail oriented. It's seeking to improve, to fix, to optimize. Virgo is a mutable earth sign. It's ruled by Mercury. So it's much more mental and kind of adaptive than anything else. And it's that Virgo energy, the detail orientation, that has this reputation for perfectionism. But that's not really how Mars behaves in this sign. Mars wants to do in action. It's not about idealizing. And therefore, when Mars is in Virgo, it's not the energy to obsess about being perfect. It's the energy to act quickly on what you notice needs fixing. It's about finding faults and finding them very, very easily because it targets flaws. And that's flaws in systems, people, and situations. So, this Mars phase for the next couple months is corrective, and it's not sitting around anxiously trying to be perfect. It's more about actively attacking what you know and see to be inefficient, incorrect, and just generally out of order. So, moving into Virgo on Tuesday, the 17th, Mars heats up the landscape of your work, your health, your daily life, your routines, and how you manage the kind of often overlooked but still very essential aspects of your life. It's the small details and behaviors that keep things functioning. For the next 2 months, expect yourself and others to be very quick to criticize, especially in conflicted or frustrating scenarios. This is where you and others get irritated by imperfections, by sloppiness, by laziness. And you'll see things like your work colleagues not pulling their weight, and it will cause tension. There might be some disagreements that wind up with some personal and cutting comments in arguments, or you get feedback about your work performance. And you're either part of the solution and you're thanked for your consistent action, or you chat about the people who are part of the problem and inefficient action. But one thing's for sure, expect the energy of critique to be used as a weapon. And this can be constructive or it can be harsh, and that's entirely depending on the situation and circumstances. So, yeah, Mars in Virgo may point out everyone's inefficiencies without sugarcoating. It might be more experiences of getting annoyed over small habits, biting your tongue, or even just going ahead and expressing it very bluntly. In its positive efforts, Mars in Virgo is a 2-year cycle that's all about channeling energy into streamlining systems, editing, refining, fixing technical errors. So if you have a project or if your work revolves around those things, as an editor, as a technician of sorts, especially in technology itself, if you're looking at streamlining systems or creating apps and software that fix very real problems and inefficiencies that you see on the daily. This is a 2-month stint of being able to go very, very hard into that project and seeing lots of positive developments. Mars in Virgo can become overly critical, nagging, passive aggressive even, and it might get stuck in this fixing mode instead of letting things be. And when that's used correctly, it is pretty much part of evolution. But sometimes the energy to continually correct things, that kind of drive to improve efficiency, whether it's from you radiating outwards or it's from your environment impacting you inwards, it can feel incredibly draining. So, with everyone under the influence, but not everyone aware, it is quite the forecast. The positive expression being a lot of high potential with precision work and troubleshooting and health focused goals. This is the ideal energy for using technical skills, editing, improving systems, and bringing discipline through routine and refinement. And this is lasting until around August 6th. So I'm looking at this as the summer of the surgical scalpel of the zodiac, with Mars in Virgo sharp, focused, and ready to cut out inefficiency. With a side note of stop fussing over unattainable ideals. What it means for each sign will be detailed in the individual horoscopes and also in a Mars in Virgo horoscope specific episode, which will be out tomorrow. Into the early hours of Thursday, June 19th. So I would say that you experience this beginning on Wednesday, June 18th. Some people tend to feel the run up to some aspects a day or two in advance. Others kind of just become super aware on the day. But either way, Wednesday to Thursday and happening just before summer solstice. Jupiter in Cancer squares Neptune in Aries, both at 2 degrees of their signs. 3 a.m. Thursday Eastern Time. And like I said, you might feel it a couple of days before, a couple of days after. And this square is a lesser known square. It doesn't happen all that often. And just looking at the anatomy of this, a square in astrology is an aspect formed when two planets are 3 signs, or approximately 90 degrees apart. But there is more to an aspect than just the distance between the planets. You also have to consider which planet of the two is ahead in the zodiac. So, looking at which planet is moving faster. For example, in this scenario, Jupiter moves faster than Neptune. Jupiter takes about 12 years to orbit the Sun. Neptune takes about 164 for its orbit. Now, if you can picture the zodiac wheel, where all of the planets move counterclockwise, if Neptune is in Aries and Jupiter is in Cancer, Jupiter is technically ahead of Neptune in zodiacal order because it's further along the wheel. It's deeper into the zodiac progression, and that's because it's moving faster. And as time goes on and they continue at their respective speeds, it's Jupiter that will leave Neptune for dust. This is called a waning square. It's the second half of a synodic cycle, and symbolically, it's more like a crisis of consciousness. It's integration, and it's got this feeling of reckoning. The faster planet is pulling away, which is often experienced as tension around release, evaluation, or correction of a situation that you are in. So think along the lines of letting go, correcting something, and this moment of realization to do with the symbolism of the planets. And before tapping into the symbolism, I want to look at this cycle a little bit deeper pertaining to your experience. And you'll need to think back to the timing of the waxing square. If this is waning, then the first part of the cycle is going to be waxing. With this aspect, that would have been when Jupiter was behind Neptune and approaching the same square from that position. This happened last on September 21st of 2019. This is 6 years ago-ish. And that year, that this square happened on repeat multiple times because Jupiter squared Neptune from a lesser position 3 times due to retrograde. 2019, we know now, kind of prefaced a very big turning point for us all. 2020 turned out to be quite the year, and those Jupiter Neptune squares were waxing. They were building up to a situation. So, this current aspect in its waning form is almost recovery, consolidation, release, and reckoning from that point. This time round, with Jupiter in Cancer and its theme of the right timing or not, it's about sensing the need for adjusted behavior in order to meet the requirements of a very clearly changing environment. And in short, it's the power to grow. And because the growth degree, this 2 degrees of Cancer, sensing the need for adjusted behavior, which is maturation, it's growing up. This degree of evolution paired with Jupiter's expansive potential is enormous potential growth. The capacity of the self to grow through the extremes that you have experienced, the extremes of 2019 and 2020, and what they did to and changed within you as a person. Maybe it changed your priorities. Maybe it was the starting point of a chain of events that changed your priorities to do with independence and standing on your own 2 feet. So if Jupiter is about timing, and then the Neptune 2nd degree of Aries is about recuperation, and the general square in astrology that represents a point of internal friction or conflict that demands action, not passive tension, it's a pressure point that forces a decision. The core questions based on Jupiter and Neptune's sign and degree blending are as follows. And you can get pen and paper, you can cycle back to this episode, but really think about answering those this week, maybe before Wednesday, Thursday comes along. And question 1 is, where are you being forced to grow by confronting discomfort? You're pushed to face some kind of fear around vulnerability and trust, while simultaneously having to take bold, uncertain steps forward. In this case, growth means balancing emotional protectiveness with the courage to dissolve illusions and act decisively. What decision have you made in the last week, or are you making this week? What kind of move are you making this week that feels a little bit tricky, a little bit uncomfortable, but you can see that it's definitely imperative for growth? Question number 2, what pattern or habits do you have that can no longer continue as is? Think about a comfort zone that you're clinging to or an emotional safety net that, without taking any risks to leave those, it leads you to maybe avoiding actually stepping into your own power. And question number 3, where are you resisting change in areas of home, family, and tradition versus leaping forward with faith? Are you resisting some kind of call to move out of emotional cocooning? Are you feeling some kind of struggle or lack of clarity with taking independent action, even if it feels risky? And the last question number 4, what should you be prioritizing when there are 2 needs or 2 drives that are clashing? And the tension is between, it's helpful to kind of see the planets in their symbolic context when looking at this question, but the tension is possibly between nurturing and protecting. So something about your home, something about your space, something about what security means regarding where you live. And this goes against the backdrop of leaping forward with imagination. So this week, this is your window to either nurture your diet, nurture your living situation, create safe emotional containers for you to exist in, whatever grounds you deeply and replenishes your energy even. but at the same time, to not ignore any kind of call to take courageous, inspired action to heal and transform your current situation. And it's just that right now, you can't do both at the same time. One must come before the other. Maybe you need to leap into action with a project, with a hunch, with something that you've got on your mind and had on your mind for a long time, knowing that by taking that leap, it could really pay off and offer you the resources to build the secure foundation. Alternatively, maybe you need to first secure your foundation in order to feel stable and confident and free enough to take the risk, the leap on a project. Which one should you put first? The risk or the rest and recuperation? And the more you answer those previous 4 questions, the more you will determine and decipher the order of which you need to approach these things. And a quick historical peek at this aspect: Jupiter made a square to Neptune those multiple times in 2019, and then it also did so in March of 2006, and then October 1999 and July 1999 too. And I did a quick dive research into the themes of those times. And there is one very common string between them all. Going back through history, the Jupiter-Neptune square were all months or moments when major health news publications released notable issues covering significant public health stories and trends. Each of those months mentioned correspond to a major either publication or news breaking development in the field of healthcare, be it like a health news index, a government newsletter, or some kind of high profile health policy event situation. These dates marked moments when health journalism delivered key insights to the public. July 1999, Medicare trust, patient rights, and the faith in the system was challenged. October 1999, disease fears, encephalitis, violence in healthcare, and illusions of safety. March 2006 was about vaccine, clinical trial news, healthcare cost controls. There was even bird flu outbreak and fears. January 2019, mental health focus, NIH research policies, overdose trends, and opioid disillusionment. And not to mention AI optimism in the health world that began to rise. So each of these timeframes marked a pivotal moment in health news, anything from a policy reform and emerging diseases to clinical breakthroughs and coverage expansions. So outside of what you're prioritizing in your personal life, the comfort first that allows you to work on bigger dreams, or chasing the bigger dreams that you know will offer you comfort. Outside of that, in the wider world, Jupiter square Neptune brings mass hope, confusion, or hype in health, spirituality, and belief systems. So, hypothesizing at the health themes around this time, the potential could be like overpromised cures, with the Neptune influence showing unclear or idealized data. This could be misunderstood clinical trials. This could be technologies that are sold as miracles but lacking grounded oversight. Some of the possible outcomes of this aspect in the now: a massive public-facing medical wellness promise that's built on very shaky ground. So health law reforms, passing new federal health access laws that later face implementation challenges. There's this potential boom in holistic or consciousness-based health. So expect AI-powered wellness tools, a push for psychedelic therapy legalization, mental health tech that promises change and support, and just disillusionment with a public health narrative. So possibly a reevaluation of past policies, especially to do with COVID and long COVID care, vaccine communication, health equity funding. In fact, you might see the resurgence of the whole entire COVID narrative much more from this week onwards. Something where the illusion of hope is high because people want a solution, but fogginess around the details, the legality, the ethics, and the science brings potential resistance and backlash. And that's quite possibly the most heaviest point of the week. You know, a personal decision to prioritize one achievement over the other. And then this potential budding and brewing of a larger scale, worldwide health situation again. And then comes Friday, the summer solstice, when the sun enters Cancer. Cancer season is the perfect time to get a solar return reading if you are a Cancer sun sign. I'll pop the info about that reading in the show notes below. But despite the heaviness of a potential worldwide health adjustment, thanks to some kind of larger scale decision, despite all of that, Cancer season 2025 is so much more. It's even more amazing than Cancer seasons of the past 12 years. And that's because of Jupiter's presence in this sign. The usual Cancer themes of stability, home, family, nourishment, security, and safety are emphasized. But in particular, the kind of little biohack of this is you get the most luck from the universe. You get this synchronistic alignment where everything is just like, wow, surprisingly happening at the right time. You get this synchronicity when you are flowing with and following your genuine emotional rhythms and extremes. That means appreciating when you're euphoric and using that to channel it into something, and respecting when you are despondent. And luck also comes when you hold steady with patience and stillness. All of that boosted by Jupiter means expanded opportunities for emotional growth and healing and abundance through nurturing yourself, your roots. And the doors open when you honor your personal timing instead of the timing of tradition. Cancer season 2025 is a season where emotional wisdom leads to tangible abundance. So lean into both your sensitivity and your faith in timing, because it can transform your relationships, your home life, your personal growth in a powerful, lasting way. The final key moment this week occurs on Sunday, June 22nd, as the Sun in Cancer squares Saturn in Aries. And this aspect just highlights the tension between Cancer's natural modesty and its emotional sensitivity against Saturn's kind of stern call to resilience and self-discipline. The Sun's theme here reflects the discomfort that arises when you feel out of flow. It's like feeling exposed. And then Saturn in Aries is in its survival theme, reminding you that true innocence and inner strength can be maintained even amid difficult or challenging circumstances that aren't necessarily going the way you want them to. This tension invites a spiritual warrior mindset, and the choice is to fight the external or to fight to stay disciplined irrespective of what's going on. And embracing such vulnerability while standing firm in your own principles means that no matter how messy things are, the chaos before the clarity, you will not fall into defeat. And that's thanks to the positive supporting aspect of Mars sextiling Jupiter on Sunday. Mars in Virgo now, Jupiter in Cancer. It offers this supportive flow of energy with Virgo's practical detail oriented drive and Jupiter's kind of nurturing timing. This aspect encourages you to take careful, well planned actions that are just aligned with the right timing, thanks to adhering to your emotional awareness. It's an enhancement of your ability to basically respond adaptively to changing circumstances with focus and optimism, promoting steady growth and progress. And a couple of examples of how Mars Jupiter sextile might play out in real life. It could be home organization and improvement, you know, a practical approach to tidying, repairing, redesigning your living space. This is creating a comforting environment, focusing on the small, meaningful details like fresh linens and the plants that you have and the lighting that you use, just to improve your home's emotional atmosphere and maximizing feelings of safety and warmth. This is about hosting, so maybe planning gatherings or family meals, if not family, friends that feel like family. With Mars in Virgo helping you to prepare everything efficiently and thoughtfully, and then Jupiter in Cancer influencing your choice in the right moment to invite people over or to let people into your nurturing, joyful space. Sunday is also great for home-based projects, so gardening, cooking, DIY. You can really tune into the natural cycles and moods. This is like planting the right thing in the right season or cooking comfort food because emotions are running high. And if this energy does eke over into work, you may notice a problem in your routine or your workflow. Mars in Virgo is very detail focused, and Jupiter in Cancer is about timing. So this could be waiting for the right moment to propose a solution to something. And it's actually very well received when you do, especially because it's considerate of the entire team's needs. This is figuring out work scheduling. This is getting everybody on the same page. And then also, if this is to do with health and fitness, this might just be starting or planning a new workout or diet strategy on Sunday. But instead of rushing into it, you listen to your body's signals. It's not this kind of commitment to going to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning before work. It's not the equal commitment of not heading home until you've hit the gym 5 days a week after your shift finishes. This is realistically saying that you can dedicate 2 days to your physical body per week and enjoying the fact that those 2 sessions are better than 0 sessions at all. And finally, this aspect in a relationship is you taking practical steps to improve communication. It might be cutting off communication if you know that's what's needed. It's just a balance that helps strengthen your emotional boundaries, your emotional foundation. And making that choice on Sunday or just generally this weekend ensures that it progresses smoothly. This week seems to be this increasing crescendo towards something different because times are changing, and how you live comfortably and confidently now is so very different from how you've done so before, or even different from how families and ancestors and tradition has shown living to be. The generational torch, per se, is being passed, but it's not about repeating old patterns. It's about redefining what safety, home, and belonging mean for you in this new era. This week asks you to blend the wisdom of the past with fresh perspectives and courage, creating a foundation that honors your emotional truth while embracing growth and change. Join me back here tomorrow for the individual time-stamped horoscopes, where you can listen for your sun sign, rising sign, and moon sign to get the most in-depth forecast ever. That will be available for all subscribers of any and every level in the horoscope vault. And tomorrow will also feature the release of the Mars in Virgo horoscopes. So this is a 2-ish month forecast of horoscopes for your sign based on the aspects that Mars will make between now and August the 6th during its stay in Virgo. And that episode will be available to the exclusive Horoscope Vault Extra subscribers. Until then, bye!